Wow. Awesome to follow that presentation. Ours is also about tuna. So firstly, we just wanted to thank Te Wai Māori Trust for the opportunity to share our journey towards a collaborative approach to tuna management in the Waikato and Waipa Catchment. We are Wikitoria Tane from Maniapoto, Zane Eramiha from Ngāpuhi, but he does work for Ngāti Koroki Kahukura. We have Nuki Nicholson from Te Arawa River Iwi Trust, and I'm Erina from Waikato. And all of us will be contributing to our presentation this afternoon. So these are some of the members, the rest of the members of our Roopu who are unable to be here, unfortunately. So we are a collective of 4 River Iwi and 3 hapū across our whole catchment. So as Pahia already mentioned, we have Waikato-Tainui representation. We had, at the time we joined together, it was Maniapoto Trust Board. We have Raukawa, we have Ngāti Koroki Kahukura, Te Arawa River Iwi Trust, Ngāti Kia, Ngāti Tuara, and Ngāti Tahu, Ngāti Whaoa. This is just a map of our catchment. So the Waikato River is 425 kilometres long. It's the longest in Aotearoa. Has a catchment area of over 14,000 square kilometres. And then the Waipa joins at Ngārua Wāhia. It's 115 kilometres in length, and it has a catchment area of over 3,000 square kilometres. So tuna are the focus of our presentation today. We've had a little bit about tuna just before, obviously. So tuna are as old as Aotearoa itself. We're connected to tuna through whakapapa. We have an obligation and responsibility as Kaitiaki to care and protect and preserve our tuna. And the importance of tuna for many iwi and hapū cannot be underestimated. Fisheries are considered a taonga, and they sustain our way of life both physically and spiritually. But when you think about the current state of tuna, they're no longer as abundant as they once were, particularly the longfin, as was mentioned earlier, so that's still considered at risk in decline. And there's a number of factors that are I guess, affecting our tuna populations, including the flood pumps that were just mentioned, but we also have habitat loss, overfishing, disease, parasites, the effects of climate change as well. So there's a number of factors that are impacting our tuna. So in our catchment in the Waikato, what happened at the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, a lot of the River Iwi leaders got together and pretty much they were sick of all the fragmented activity that was happening in our catchment. So there was lots of, DOC was doing some stuff, the Regional Council was doing some stuff, MPI was doing some stuff, EOCO was doing stuff, and it kind of got, I guess at the end of the day, hoha with having to respond to all these other activities that were happening. And so they were had a wānanga to decide whether or not there was an appetite to work together collectively and kind of, I guess, flip the switch and say, well, instead of having to respond to everybody else, what are the priorities for us as the River Iwi across this catchment? And then after that, and so that's quite a big thing to get 4, there's 5 iwi in our catchment to work together. But the way we did it was that we put the interests of tuna at the centre, kind of what Rawiri spoke about earlier actually. So all of our decision making was guided by what's best for the tuna. So it wasn't about Waikato or Raukawa or Maniapoto. It's is this good for the tuna? Sweet, then we're going. The second principle that we agreed on was that we respected the mana and integrity of each of those individual hapū and iwi as well. So if they wanted to do something in their patch, that was still cool. It wasn't about telling people how to suck eggs. It was kind of more like, if we join together and work together, what does that look like for us and what does that look like for the tuna? So after that initial wānanga, when everyone decided, yep, we're in, because it was a coalition of the willing to, it wasn't forced. Nobody was forced to join in. It was this is the state of play in our catchment. We are the iwi across the catchment. Do we want to work together? And then they resoundingly said, yes, we do. And so after 2 online wānanga and 1 in-person wānanga and a site visit to Karapiro Dam, we came up with a strategy. And when we were developing the strategy, there was like 30 ideas chucked on the table, heaps of stuff. And then we were well, we need to prioritise it because we're only a small group and we want to work on the top 4. So we kind of worked through a process where we kind of identified the top 4 priorities for the River Iwi in that catchment. And so this is what we came up with. This is what the priorities were for the whānau at that time. And so the number 1 priority was the trap and transfer program at Karapiro Dam. So on the Waikato River, there's 8 hydro dams, and Karapiro is the lowest one. So that's when the elvers or the baby eels come up from Te Puaha, the first dam they hit is at Karapiro. And there's been a trap and transfer program there for the last 30 years, but it's been predominantly run by the commercial eel industry. So this was about the River Iwi deciding that the way the commercial eel industry was running that program was more set up so that they could go back and catch the fish later. So here's Karapiro Dam. So that's the lowest one in Waikato. So the baby elvers come up from the sea. They hit the bottom of the dam. We have 2 traps there. The program's been operating since 1992. They'll catch the baby eels and put them up into the upper hydro lakes where they'll go back and catch them, and then, that props up their industry. So in end of 2021, 2022, the River Iwi were like, we've had enough of that. We're gonna change it. So when the permit came up, so they needed an MPI permit to do the trap and transfer program. All of the River Iwi collectively opposed the renewal of that permit. And then as a result, it didn't get renewed. And then I guess that created the... So as a result of that, there was a space. So somebody had to fill the gap, and we just happened to have some people. But as a point of difference, we wrote our own permit. We didn't have to apply to MPI. We're like, thank you, but no thank you. We'll write our own. And so through our river settlement, particularly our fisheries regulations, there's provisions within that where the tribe can actually authorise research, holding tuna, transferring tuna, and a few other things. So we wrote our own permit. And then I sent MPI an email, and I was like, we're doing it. And just out of courtesy, wasn't asking their permission. And by the way, here's our permit. And at the end of that transfer season, we'll be back in touch as well. And I was like waiting for the response, and they were like, "We'll have a good season." I was like, "Oh, sweet." so then pretty much that's it. And so our collective, some of the people that aren't here too, we changed it up. We decided where those tuna went. We didn't put them all in the upper catchment. We didn't put them behind those fish pumps, that's for sure, but we put them in other areas where the tuna had a better chance at survival and being able to get back out to sea and spawn. So we decided where those locations were, and we worked with the people at the sites. And then, well, some of the others will talk about that too, but when we went to the sites where we were doing the releases, there was like haka and karanga and it was like, it was all on, but someone will talk about that later. But at the end of the day, we did it our way and we took it over, and here's a little video, and then the next speaker will be on after that.
Tēnā tātou, ko Nuki Nicholson tōku ingoa, he uri o tuarangi Ngāti wāhia, i te tau o tōku māma, i te tau o tōku pāpā no Ngāpuhi. My part in our collective is to talk about what the collective did to us as a group. It brought out a strength in our collective group, identifying and sharing priorities for the collective management of Tuna and the Waikato and Waipa Catchment, and to work together in the best interests of the Tuna, whilst respecting that we will also continue to progress our individual work streams within our respective rohe, as was mentioned. Our collective is made up of key decision makers and kaimahi within our respective iwi and hapū. Those of us who are able to, I guess, talk and have conversations with the people who give us the pūtea to enable our kaimahi to get on and do the mahi on the ground. Our group spans the entire catchment, and we have committed to working together, putting Tuna at the centre of all we do, effectively transforming and reclaiming tino rangaturatanga over Tuna management through our own authority and actions enabled through our treaty settlement mechanisms. While we're in the collective, our experience has showed us how powerless we can feel when we go into fight kaupapa alone, and us working as a collective, it's more powerful together. Our collective, it's a great opportunity for all of us to work together. We've all come from different positions in our iwi, but we've all got the same kaupapa. We're all here for the same kaupapa. The opportunity again for us to work together. For too long we have been beavering away, but we haven't necessarily connected all the dots. And as a collective voice, we realise it's the best way, the only way that we should do it as a collective. And I'd just like to finish with a whakatauki from Te Kiri Hai Hai o Te Pui Ahirangi, mihi mea ka moimoia a hau, ko a hau anaki. Mihi mea ka moimoia a tātou, ka taia e tātou. If I dream, I dream. If we all dream together, we can succeed. Nō reira, kia ora koutou.
Kia ora te iwi, ko Zane Eramiha tēnei, i ahu mai au ngā kāwai rangatira o Ngāpuhi. And I'm the gumboot fella. Don't have them on though. But I do the physical mahi, materialise all the hard work that our whānau do. And this is my why. I feel like this mahi is mahi for Māori, so it should be done by Māori. And I experienced working with Eel Enhancement Company on my first year, and it wasn't what I expected. It was very Western, and they didn't have the care for these taonga that we do as a collective. So our team, again, established what we have today, and I get to do all the mahi and share them with our next generation, because after us, there's got to be somebody else. So it's cool when we're able to take our babies out, our tamariki, share it with schools, kaumātua and kuia, who have never seen an elver before. Me, for example, I'd never seen an elver in my life. I used to catch tuna and eat them, and that's all I did. But now I have a place close to my heart for our taonga, and working with this collective has helped me learn a lot more and bring our next generation through. Nō reira, tēnā koutou.
And now's the time for Erina to panic, because I might talk too long. I got 7 seconds. I'm Wikitoria, Tane, Ngāti Maneopoto, ko ngā hapu, ko Ngāti Apukura, Ngāti Uekaha, Ngāti Irunumia, nō reira, tēnā tātou katoa. So I'm going to talk about the haukainga and how important actually this kaupapa has been for all of our haukainga. I started talking to our Kaitiaki, and our Kaitiaki are involved in freshwater monitoring, tuna monitoring, and various other kaupapa restoration, history, and taiao. And so all of the haukainga that came to receive, the transfer of tuna from Karapiro, they're already involved. They're already involved and really committed. And so we started talking, I think, around about August last year, and it was almost like waiting for the birthing of a baby, waiting for this transfer. How you've got a sort of a quiet, pregnant silence that's happening, waiting. When is it? Are we going to do it now? When are we going to have these tuna come over? And finally, in December, the season started, and we were able to transfer from Karapiro 38,500 elvers from Karapiro into two rivers. One is a stream, the Mangatutu stream, and the other is in the main stem of the Waipa, just north of Otorohanga. And that was, from the time of our karakia, and leaving, I guess blessing the kaupapa first, and then coming in when the season started and collecting those, I call it tuna ririki, having karakia then, and then being delayed for almost, I think, 2 hours. In the meantime, I've got all of the whānau, the Kaitiaki waiting, and, you're in the delivery suite waiting for this baby to arrive. When we had a convoy, and when we finally hit Otorohanga, the convoy of all of our Kaitiaki met us there, and it's about 15 minutes, I guess, from Otorohanga itself to the river where we actually took those tuna ririki to, and that's the thing that made me feel really emotional. And made everybody feel really emotional, because we're looking at mokopuna, all of these tuna ririki, but they're also tupuna. And, this was an opportunity for us to, I guess, realise our kaitiaki-tanga tūturu and taking them through there. And so we get there, and there's all the whānau there, and there's tangi, and there's my mum there, and she's delivering a karanga to us as we arrive in there. It was really emotional, I think, for everybody. Then all of these mokopuna children of the kaitiaki that are normally doing this work in the freshwater. And so I think one of the greatest things about this kind of kaupapa is it allows whānau to exercise or to express themselves in a way that is really tūturu, looking after our tupuna. And I guess I see our tuna really as a it's a terrible blooming analogy, but like the canary down in the ana. When they're not well, you're not going to be any good in there. You better get out, kind of thing. So that picture over there on the right hand side, that's my mum there. She's crying. That's Shane Turuki there, who delivered all of the karakia for us at each spot, and at Karapiro too at the beginning when we first started the kaupapa. So there's so many things I look at now. I'm over time, But anyway, tēnā tātou katoa. This is for everyone, something bigger than us. Tēnā tātou.
So just quickly to wrap up some of the key learnings for us was that our approach prioritised collective decision-making, autonomy, self-determination, and empowering iwi to manage our resources and apply their mātauranga and practices in a culturally appropriate manner. There's growing recognition that there's other ways of doing mahi. We don't have to do it all the one way with the one permit. There's a growing body of examples of Indigenous-led conservation mahi. And just tips for our non-Indigenous, non-Māori partners that want to work with us is listen, connect, collaborate, co-create, resource, empower, and let go.